So hello viewers, today we are just going to read the chapter 2 biology class 12th CBSE book NCERT book. So now I just going forward on my reading. So as you aware, human reproduction are sexually reproducting and bepiperous. The reproductive event in human include formation of gametes, gametogenesis, i.e. sperms in a males and ovums in female, transfer of sperm into the female genital tract, insemination and fusion of male and female gametes, fertilization, genital tract insemination and fusions of male and female gamete, fertilization leading to formation leading to formed zygote. This is followed by the formation and development of blastocyte, and it's attached to the uterine wall, implantation, embryonic development, gestation, and delivery of baby. Parturition. You have learned that these reproductive event occurs after puberty. These are remarkable difference between the reproductive event in the male and in female. For example, sperm formation continues even in old men, but formation of ovum increase in women around the age of 50 years. Let us examine the male and female reproductive system in human. First, 2.1, the male reproductive system. The male reproductive system is located in the pelvic region. Figure 2.1a shows it indicate a pair of testes along with accessories, ducts, glands, and the external genitals. So here we see the pictures of male reproductive system, and here we clearly is the diagram of that male reproductive system. And now we are just going on for the study. So I'm reading. So the testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity within a pouch called scrotum. The scrotum help in maintaining the low temperature of the testes, 2 to 2.5 degrees centigrade lower than the normal internal body temperature necessary for spermatogenesis. In adult, each testis is ovum in shape with the length of about 4 to 5 centimeter and a breadth of about 2 to 3 centimeter. The testis is covered by a dense covering. Each testis has about 250 compartments called testicular lobules. Figure 2.1b. Each lobule contains 1 to the 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules in which the sperms are produced. Each seminous tubules is lined on it inside by two types of cell called male germ cells and spermatogonia and Sertoli cell. Figure 2.2. The male germ cells undergo meiotic division, finally leading to sperm formation, while the Sertoli cell provide nutrition to the germ cell. The region outside the semiferous tubules, called the interstitial spaces, contain small blood vessels and intestinal cells or Leydig cells. Figure 2.2. Leydig cells synthesize and secrete testicular hormones called androgens. Other immunologically competent cells are also present. The male sex accessory ducts include rete, testis, vasa, efferentia, and epididymis and vas deferens. The semiferous tubules of the testis open into the vas efferentia through the rete testis. The vas efferentia leave the testis and open into epididymis located along the posterior surface of each testis. The epididymis lead to vas deferens that ascend to the abdominal and loop over the urinary bladder. It receives a duct from the seminal seminal vessel and open into urethra as the ejaculatory duct. Figure 2.1a. These ducts store and transport the sperm from the testes to the outside through urethra. The urethra originate from the urinary bladder and extend through the penis to its external opening called urethral meatus. Now we going on page number 3. Here we see the structure of that cell, Sertoli cell. Now we are move on further reading. The penis is the male external genitalia, figure 2.1 A and B. It made up of the special tissue that help in ejaculation of the penis to facilitate insemination. The enlarged end of penis, called the glans penis, is covered by a loose fold of skin called foreskin. This male accessory gland duct, figure 2.10, include paired seminal seminal vesicle or prostate and paired bulbourethral gland. Secretion of these gland constitute the seminal plasma, which is enriched in fructose, calcium, and certain enzymes. The secretion of bulbourethral bulbourethral gland also help in the lubrication of penis. Second 2.2, the female reproductive system. Here we see the female reproductive system. Now just be going on about further reading. The female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries along with a pair of oviduct, urethus, cervix, vagina, and the external genitalia located in pelvic region. These part of the system, along with a pair of the mammary gland, are integrated structurally and functionally to support the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, birth, and child care. Ovaries are the primary female sex organ that produce the female gamete ovum and several steroid hormones or ovarian hormones. The ovaries are located on one on each side of the lower abdomen, figure 2.3b. Each ovary is about 2 to 4 centimeter length and is connected the pelvic wall and urethra by ligament. Each ovary is covered by a thin epithelium which enclosed the ovarian stroma. The stroma is divided into two zones: a peripheral cortex and an inner medulla. Here we see the diagram of the female reproductive part. And now Further on reading, the oviduct, fallopian tube, urethus, and vagina constitute the female accessory duct. Each fallopian tube is about 10 to 12 centimeter long and extend from the peripheral of each ovary to the urethus. Figure 2.3b. So the part closer to the ovary is the funnel-shaped infundibulum. The edges of the infundibulum possesses finger-like projection called fimbri, which help in collection of ovum after ovulation. The infundibulum lead to a wider. Here we see the picture of that part. And now we are going on further studying. Further reading, part of the oviduct called ampulla. The last part of the oviduct isthmus has a narrow lumen and it's join the urethus. The uterus is a single and is also called bomb The shape of the urethra is like an inverted pear. It is the supported by ligament attached to the wall. Pelvic wall. The uterus open into vagina through a narrow cervix, a cavity. The cervix is called caudal canal. Figure 2.1b. So, which along with the vagina form the birth canal. The ball of the uterus has three layer of tissue. The external thin membranous perimetrium, middle thick layer of smooth muscles, myometrium, and inner glandular layer called endometrium that lines the uterine cavity. The endometrium undergoes cyclical change during menstrual cycle, while the myometrium exhibits a strong contraction during delivery of the baby. The female external genitalia include mons, pubic labia minora, hymen, and clitoris. Figure 2.3a. Mons pubin, cushion of fatty tissue covered by skin and pelvic hair. The labia major and the fleshy fold of tissue which extend down from the mons pubic and surrounded the virginal virginal opening. The labia minora are paired fold of tissue under the labia majora. The opening of vagina is often covered by the partially by the membrane called hymen. The clitoris is a tiny figure-like structure which lies at the upper junction of the two labia minora above the urethral opening. The hymen is often torn during the first coitus intercourse. During it can also be broken by the sudden fall of jolts, insertion of vaginal tension, active participation in some part like horseback riding, cycling, etc. In some women, are hymen persist even after coitus. In fact, the presence of absence of hymen is not a reliable indicator of virginity or sexual experiences. So here we see the picture of diametric functional view of mammary gland. Now, just a functional mammary gland is characterized of all female mammals. The mammary gland are paired structure breasts that contain glandular tissue and variable amount of fat. The glandular tissue of each breast is divided into 50 to 20 mammary lobes containing cluster of cells called alveoli. Figure 2.4. The cell of alveoli secrete milk which is stored in cavity of alveoli. The alveoli open into mammary tubules. The tubules of each lobes join form duct. Mammary duct. Several mammary ducts join to form wider mammary ampulla, which is connected to lactiferous duct through which milk is sucked out. Gametogenesis. Gametogenesis, the primary sex organ. The testes in the male and the ovary in the female produced a gamete, i.e. sperm, and the ovum respectively by the process called gametogenesis. In testes, the immature male germ cells spermatogonia produce sperm by spermatogenesis that begin at puberty. The spermatogonia sing spermatogonium present on the inside wall of the semifilous tubules multiply by meiotic division and increase in number. Each spermatogonium is diploid and contains 46 chromosomes. Some of the spermatogonia called primary Spermatocytes periodically undergoes meiosis. A primary spermatocyte complete the first meiotic division, reproductive division, leading to formation of two equal haploid cells called the secondary spermatocytes, which have only 23 chromosomes each. The secondary spermatocyte undergo the second meiotic division to produce four equal haploids. Spermatides, figure 2.5. What would be the numbers of chromosomes in the spermatides? The spermatides are transferred into spermatozoa sperms by the process called spermatogenesis. After spermogenesis, sperms had become embedded in the Sertoli cell and finally released from the seminiferous tubules by the process called spermatolation. Spermatogenesis starts at the age of puberty due to the significant increase in the secretion of gonadotropin release hormone GnRH. This is, if you recall, a hypothalamic hormone. The increased level of GnRH then act as the ancestral pituitary gland and uh, stimulates secretion of two gonadotropins, luteinizing hormones LH and follicles stimulation hormone FSH. LH acts as the Leydig cell and stimulates synthesis and secretion of androgens, and androgens in turn stimulate the process of spermatogenesis. FSH act on the Sertoli cells and stimulation secretion of some factors which help in the process of spermatogenesis. Let us examine the structure of sperm. Sperm. It is a microscopic structure composed of a head, neck, a middle piece, and a tail. Figure 2.6. A plasma membrane envelopes the whole body of sperm. Head contains an elongated haploid nucleus. The interior portion of the which is covered by a cap-like structure, archosome. The archosome is filled with enzymes that help fertilization of ovum. The middle piece of possesses numerous mitochondria which produce energy for the movement of tall that of fertilized sperm. Motility essential for the fertilization. The human male ejection is about 200 to 13 million sperm during a cycle, of which for normal fertilization at least 60% of sperm must have normal shape and size. At least at least 40% of them must show a vigorous motility. Sperm released from the seminiferous tubules are transported by the accessory duct. Ceratization of epididymis, vast difference, seminal vessel and prostate are essential for maturation and motility of sperm. The seminal plasma along with the sperm constitute the semen. The function of the male sex accessory duct and the gland are mainly by the testicular hormone androgen. The process of formation of a mature female gamete is called oogenesis, which is marked different from the spermatogenesis. Oogenesis is initiated during the embryonic development stage when a couple of million gametes, mother cell oogenia, are formed within each fetal ovary. No more oogenia are formed and added afterward. These cells started division and entered into prophase first of the meiotic division and get temporarily arrested at the stage called primary octocytes. Each primary octocyte then gets surrounded by a layer of gametes called granulosa cell, and it's called the primary follicles. Figure 2.1. A large number of these follicle degeneration during the phase from the birth to puberty. Therefore, at the puberty, the 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles are left in each ovary. The primary follicles get surrounded by more layer of glomerula cell and new tesca and are called secondary follicles. The secondary follicle soon transform into tertiary follicles, which is characterized by the fluid cavity called antrium. The trachea layer organized into inner trachea interna and outer theca externa. It is important to draw your attention that it is the stage that the primary oxide within the tertiary follicle grow in size and complete its first meiotic division. It is unequal division resulting in the formation of a large haploid secondary octet and a tiny first polar body. Figure 2.1 b. The secondary octet remain bulk of the nutrient-rich cytoplasm of the primary octet. Can you think of any advantage for this? Does first polar body born out of the mutation division further or degenerate? At present, we are not very certain about the tertiary follicle. Further changes into mature follicles on the graphene follicles. The secondary octet form a new membrane called the gona panicoda surrounding the graphene follicle now ruptured to release the secondary octet ovum, the ovary, by the process of called ovulation. Can you identify the major differences between the spermatogenesis and oogenesis? Spermatogenesis and oogenesis are given in figure 2.8, a 2.7 figure or a 2.8. Menstrual cycle. The reproductive cycle in female primates, e.g., example apes and human beings, is called menstrual cycle. The first menstrual cycle begin at puberty and is called menarche. In human females, menstruation is repeated at average interval of 20 to 28 to 29 days, and the cycle of the event starting from one menstrual till the next is called the menstrual cycle. The one ovum is released ovulation during the middle of the each menstrual cycle. The major event of the menstrual cycle are the shown in figure 2.9. The cycle starts with the menstrual phase when the menstrual flow occurs at and it's last for 3 to 5 days. The menstrual flow result due to breakdown of endometrial lining of the uterus and its blood vessels, which form the liquid that comes out throughout vagina. The menstrual only occurs if the released ovum is not fertilized. Lack of menstruation may be indicate of pregnancy. However, it may also be is caused due to the some other underlying causes like stress, poor health, etc. The menstrual phase is followed by the follicular phase. During this phase, the primary follicles in the ovary grow to become this phase. The primary follicles in the ovary grow to become a fully mature Griffin follicle, and stimuli the endometrium of the uterus regenerates through the proliferation. These changes in ovary and the urethra are induced by the changes in the level of pituitary and ovarian hormones. Figure 2.9. The secretion of gona gonadotropin LH and FSH increases gradually during the follicular phase and stimulate follicles development as well as secretion of the estrogen by the growing of follicles. Both LH and FSH attain a peak level in the middle of cycle about 40th day. The rapid secretion of LH is leading to its maximum level during the mid-cycle called LH surge induce rapture of Griffin follicle and thereby the release of ovum ovulation. The Ovulation phase is followed by the luteal phase, during which the remaining part of the Griffin follicle transform as a corpus luteum. Figure 2.9. The corpus luteum secretes a large amount of progesterone, which is essential for the maintenance of the endometrium, such as the endometrium is necessary for implantation of the fertilized ovum and the other event of the pregnancy. During the pregnancy, all event of the menstrual cycle stop, and there is no menstrual. In the absence of the fertilization, the corpus luteum degenerates, the integration of endometrium, leading to the menstruation, marking a new cycle in the human being. Menstrual cycle cases about 50 years of age, that is termed as menopause. The cyclic menstruation is an indicator of normal reproductive phase and external between menarche and menopause. और हम लोग ये साइड हेडिंग भी पढ़ते हैं। तो यहाँ पे क्या गिवन है, द मेंस्ट्रुअल हाइजीन, मेंटेनेंस ऑफ हाइजीन एंड सैनिटेशन ड्यूरिंग menstruation is very important. Taking bath and clean yourself regularly. Use sanitation napkins or clean homemade pads. Changing sanitation napkin or homemade pads after every 4 to 5 hours as per the requirement. Dispose of the used sanitary napkin properly, wrapping it used paper. Do not throw the used napkin in the drain pipe of the toilet or in the open area. After handling the napkin, wash hand and use soap. Fertilization and implantation. During the copulation, sutuous semen released is by the penis into the vagina. Insemination, the motile sperm swim rapidly, pass through the cortex, enter into uterus, and finally reach the ampullary region of the fallopian tube. Figure 2.11b. The ovum released by the ovary is also transported to the ampullary region where fertilization takes place. Fertilization can only occur if the ovum and sperm are transported simultaneously to the ampullary region. This is the reason why not all the copulation lead fertilization and pregnancy. The process of fusion of a sperm with the ovum is called fertilization. During fertilization, a sperm comes in contact with a zono pellucida layer of the ovum. Figure 2.1 and indicus changes in the membrane that block in the entry of the additional sperm. Thus, it ensures that only one sperm can fertile an ovum. The secretion of the aerosol help the sperm enter into the cytoplasm of the ovum through the zona pellucida and plasma membrane. The indices the completion of the meiotic division of the secondary octocytes. The second meiotic division is also unequal and result in formation of the second polar body and haploid ovum. Ooted soon. The haploid nucleus of the sperm and that of the ovum fuse together to together. I'm sorry. Together to form a diploid zygote. How many chromosomes will be there in the zygote? One has the remember that the sex of the baby sex of the baby has been decided at the stage itself. Let's see how. As you know, the chromosome pattern in the human female is X and X, and that is male is X and Y. Therefore, all the haploid gamete ova produced by the female have a sex chromosome X, where X is in the male gamete sperm. In the sex chromosome would either X or Y. Hence, 50% of sperm carry X chromosomes, while other 50% Y chromosome. After fusion of male and female gamete, the zygote would carry either XX and or XY depending on whether the sperm carrying the X or by fertilized of the ovum. The zygote carrying XX would develop an female baby and XY would form a male. You will learn more about the chromosomal pattern in chapter 5. That is by scientifically it is correct to say that the sex of the determined by the father, not by the mother. The meiotic division starts as the zygote moves through the isthmus of the oviduct called cleavage toward the uterus, figure 2.11, and form 248 daughter cells called blastomers, the embryo with 8 to 16 blastoma called the morula, figure 2.111e. The morula continue divide and transport into blastocytes, figure 12, 2.111g. As it move further into the urethra, the blastoma in blastocytes are arranged into outer layer called trophoblast and an inner group of the cell attached to trophoblast called the inner cell mass. The trophoblast layer then get attached to the endometrium, and inner cell mass get differentiated as the embryo. After attachment, the uterine cell divide rapidly and covers the blastophytes. As a result, the blastophytes become embedded in the endometrium of the urethra, figure 2.11. Step H. This is called implantation. It's lead to pregnancy. 2.6, pregnancy and embryonic development. After implantation, figures like projection appear on the trophoblast, is called cro- cro- chronic villi, which are surrounded by the urethral tissue and the maternal blood. The chronic villi and urethrian tissue become integrated with each other and jointly form a structural and functional unit like developing embryo, fetus, and maternal body called placenta. Figure 2.12. The placenta facilitates the supply of oxygen and nutrition to embryo and also removal of carbon dioxide and excretory waste material produced by the embryo. The placenta is connected to the embryo through an umbilical cord, which help in the transport of substance to the from the embryo. Placenta also act as an endocrine tissue and produce several hormones like human chronic gonadotropin HCG, humans placenta lactogen HPL, estrogen prostrogens etc. In the later phases of pregnancy, a hormone called relaxin is also secreted by the ovary. Let us remember the HCG, HPL, relaxin are produced in women only during pregnancy. In addition, during the pregnancy, the level of the other hormone like estrogen, prostrogen, cortisol, and prolactin, thyroxine, etc. are increased several folds in the maternal blood. Increased produced of these hormones is essential for the supporting of the fetal growth, metabolic changes in the mother, and maintenance of pregnancy. Immediately after the implantation of inner cell mass, embryo differentiates into an outer layer called ectoderm and the inner layer called endoderm. Mesoderm soon appear between the ectoderm and the endoderm. These three layers give rise to the all tissues organ in adult. It need to be mentioned here that the inner cell mass contains certain cell called stem cell, which have the potential to give rise to all the tissue and organ. What are the major features of the embryonic development of the, at various month of the pregnancy? The human pregnancy lasts 9 months. Do you know how many months pregnancy lasts in dogs, elephant, cats? Find out in human beings after 1 month of pregnancy, the embryo here, here heart is formed. The first sign of growing fetus may be noticed by the listening to the heart sound carefully through the stethoscope. By the end of the second month of pregnancy, the fetus develop limbs and digits. By the end of 12 weeks, first trimester, most of the major organ system are formed. For example, the limbs and the external genital organ are well developed. The first movement of the fetus and appearance of the hair on the head and are usually observed during the fifth month, by which the end of the 24th week end of the trimester, the body is covered with fine hairs. Eyelid separation and eyelashes are formed. By the end of 9 months of pregnancy, the fetus is fully developed and ready to for delivery. Or the punctuation and lactation. Here we study the average duration of human pregnancy is about 9 months, which is called the gestation pregnancy period. Various contraction of the uterus at the end of pregnancy cause the explosion delivery of the fetus. This process of delivery of the fetus childbirth is called the parturition. Parturition is the induced by the complex uh, neuroendocrine mechanism. The signal for the parturition originate from the fully developed fetus and the placenta, which induced mild urinary contraction called fetal ejection. Reflect this triggers release of oxytocin from the maternal pituitary. Oxytocin act on the urine muscle and cause stronger urinary contraction, which in turn stimulates further secretion of oxytocin. The similarity reflect between the urine contraction and oxytocin secretion continues, resulting in the stronger and stronger contraction. This lead to explosion of the baby out of the uterus through the birth canal. Parturition soon after the infant is delivered, the placenta also expelled out from the uterus. What do you think? The doctor intact to induce delivery. The mammary gland of the female undergo differentiation during the pregnancy and start producing milk toward the end of the pregnancy. By this process called lactation, this help the mother is feeding the new born. The milk produced during the initial few days of lactation is called the colostrum, which contains several antibodies absolutely essential for development resistance for the newborn baby. Breastfeeding during initial period of infant recommended by doctor for bringing up the healthy baby. Here our chapter is finished, and I just read the summary. Humans are sexually reproductive and viviparous. The male reproductive system is composed of a pair of the testes. The male sex accessory duct and the accessory gland and the external genitalia. Each testis has about 250 compartment called testicular lobules, and each lobules contain one to three highly coiled seminiferous tubules. Each seminiferous tubules is lined inside by the spermatogonia and Sertoli cells. The spermatogonia undergoes meiotic division, leading to the sperm formation, while Sertoli cell provide nutrition to the dividing germ cells. The Leydig cell outside the seminiferous tubercle synthesis and secretion testicular hormones called the androgen. Male external genital is called the penis. The female reproductive system is consist of pair of ovaries, a pair of oviduct, a urethra, a vagina, external genital, and a pair of mammary gland. The ovary produce the female gamete, ovum, and some asteroid hormones. Ovarian follicles in different stages of development are embedded in the stroma. The oviduct, urethra, and vagina are the female accessory duct, and the urethra has the three layer, namely permetrium, myometrium, and endometrium. The female external genitalia include mons, pubic labia, majora, limbia, minora, hymen, and clitoris, and the mammary gland are one of the female secondary sexual characteristic. Spermatogenesis result in the formation of sperm that are transported by the male sex accessory ducts. A normal human sperm is composed of the head, neck, a middle piece, and tail. The process of formation of the mature female gamete is called oogenesis. The reproductive cycle of female primates called menstruation cycle. Menstruation cycle is started after the attaining sexual maturation, puberty. During ovulation, only one ovum is released. As per the menstrual cycle, the cyclic changes in the ovary and the uterus during the menstrual cycle are introduced by the changes in the level of pituitary and ovarian hormone. After citrus, sperm are transported to the ampulla, where the sperm fertilize the ovum, leading the formation of the diploid zygote. The presence of X and Y chromosome in the sperm determine the sex of the embryo. The zygote undergo repeated meiotic division to form blastocyte, which is implanted in the urethra, resulting in pregnancy. After 9 months of the pregnancy, the fully developed fetus is ready for delivery. The process of childbirth is called parturition, which is induced by the complex neuroendocrine mechanism involving cortisol, estrogen, and oxytocin. Mammary gland differentiation during the pregnancy and secrete milk. After childbirth, the newborn baby is fed milk by the mother. The lactation during the initial for few months of the growth. Here, we just close the chapter.